Well, it's been 4 years since coronavirus ended civilization. I miss so many things from the outside world, but I never thought what I missed the most would be Konami giving us powerful new archetypes to play with.
Well, I have good news for you. They finally released Snowflower.
That is not what I asked for.
Hey everybody, Joseph Rothschild here, aka MBT, back again with another episode of 10-Minute Testing. Oh boy, how's everybody doing? It feels weird to keep making these, living in the end times and all. Hopefully, before the contradictions of capitalism snap, the riots start, and toilet paper becomes the new currency, you and I can enjoy some well-deserved distraction. One of the things I love most about Yu-Gi-Oh! Is that it brings people together, and as events are cancelled, I'm reminded that togetherness transcends location and we're just as capable of sharing this card game we both love online. Now, let's see what archetype's on the docket for today, and oh, damn it, it's Snowflower! So here's the list, and yeah, it's not so much Snowflower as it is Plant Link featuring Snowflower, but that's going to be about the best we can manage. As always, I'll give you a background about the archetype, a little bit of a discussion about what I hope the deck can do, and of course, the card by card. But first, this video is sponsored by Yu-Gi-Oh! Pro Deck. Yu-Gi-Oh! Pro Deck is a one-stop shop for deck building, deck uploading, card searching, and strategy articles, some of which are written by yours truly. I'm proud to represent them, and I encourage any player interested in deck building to check out their website at www.ygoprodeck.com. Now, let's settle in with Snowflower. Snowflower is a series of water plant monsters that further complicate what exactly a plant monster really is. I guess girls holding plant-shaped umbrellas count now, huh? Gotta rake in those waifu bucks somehow. Anyway, these wet wives all deal with tributing. Some of them special summon when a monster is tributed, some of them contribute a plant to special summon themselves from the hand, and all their spells and traps are modal, with one mediocre effect and one powerful one provided you tribute a plant monster for cost. Basically, they're an archetype of finishers with an amazing Xyz boss that demands a wealth of plants on board to flourish. That's where Plant Link comes in. Creeping at the edges of the metagame for the last 3.5 years, a good stuff core enabled by Lonefire Blossom has always been just slightly underneath the necessary power level to compete, but with the release of Cross Sheep, Needle Fiber, and Aromaseraphy Jasmine, it looks like these flowers might finally have their day in the sun. By triggering Cross Sheep with a searched instant fusion, summoning the recurable Glow-Up Bulb and Spore via Needle Fiber, and flexing extra Lone Fires into copies of Evil Thorn for near-free Jasmines and Winds in Time, the deck's now an extension behemoth and fertile soil for the Snowflower archetype. In a best-case scenario, the Plant Link portion will provide the necessary setup for Snowflower's sweet Xyz finishers. In a worst-case one, the whole thing will wilt. So with that, let's get into the card by card. Firstly, our Snowflowers. Helleboros is an 8-star, important for stunning targets. Snowdrop can tribute a plant to special herself and another plant, perfect to pair with our previous card. Peony can special for a tribute and adds a Snowflower spell or trap to your hand when summoned, and Prim's a free special provided you tribute. After that are our Link plants, 3 Lonefire, 3 Scorpio, 2 Cobra because I fear God, 3 Evil Thorn, 1 Glow-Up Bulb, and 1 Spore. For spells, we're on 3 Instant Fusion, 3 Called, 2 Desires, Upstart, Monster Reborn, 1 for 1, Succession, 3 Stunning, it's a Rhoda, or 2 Rhodas if you tribute a plant, 1 Swirling, it's an Edict, and 1 Sheet, a breakthrough skill if you don't tribute a plant, and a Crackdown if you do. In the extra, we're on Muddragon, Thousand Eyes, Savage, Dragster, Teardrop, which tributes your opponent's monsters as a quick effect, Kanazashi, a mini Dingirsu, Bahamut, Abyss Dweller, Toad, Boral Sword, Appaloosa, Jasmine, Needle Fiber, Cross Sheep, and Link Haribo. So with that, let's jump into the games. Our first match is up against Giant Ballpark, which is a fantastic opportunity to showcase what this deck can do going first, because never in a million years would GBP dream of opening a game. We'll lead with a copy of Scorpio to get a copy of Darling Toad and Cobra from deck and an instant fusion to hand. We'll go into Jasmine and then reborn this copy of Cobra so we can activate the effective Jasmine for a Lonefire Blossom, triggering the Prim in hand and turning that Blossom into an Evil Thorn. We'll activate Evil Thorn's effect and that's time in the round. There's 2 more. Afterwards we're going to link summon a copy of Cross Sheep so we can instant fusion into Muddragon and bring back this copy of Lonefire Blossom. We'll overlay for Bahamut Shark and make a Toad. Then afterwards we'll activate Lonefire Blossom for a Peony, which will trigger to get us a copy of Stunning. We'll Stunning, and then afterwards we'll link summon a copy of Appaloosa, activate Snowdrop, get a Helleboros to our side of the field, and end on a Teardrop, a Toad, and a 3-mat Appaloosa. Not bad. Our opponent's going to upstart and tribute over our Toad. Hilariously, that triggers Teardrop on field. They're going to activate Giant Ballpark and then try to go for a Twin Bow. We will negate that. I want to keep monsters off their side of the field so we can tribute the only one in battle phase. This triggers the effective Resonance Insect, but of course we have additional negates on this Appaloosa, so they are forced to pass back. Things are looking quite good against our Battle Wasping opponent. We'll go for Succession, we'll go into Lone Fire Blossom, then activate Blossom's effect for a Glow Up Bulb. This triggers Teardrop, we'll go into Savage Dragon, and equip a copy of Cross Sheep. We'll bring back Gub and go into Needle Fiber, and our opponent decides they've seen enough. Our second match is up against Sacred Beast, and as the recently crowned King of Sacred Beasts, I feel pretty confident that we have what it takes to go second. Let me show you what this deck can do on the draw. Our opponent's going to lead with a copy of Dark Beckoning Beast, which they'll use to get the continuous trap. They'll normal summon a Chaos Summoning to go into Raviel, then use Chaos Summoning for a copy of Fallen Paradise, which they will activate to find Cerulean Skyfire. Bad choice. For turn, we draw a copy of Spore. We'll discard it to 1-for-1. They'll flip Sacred Beast Awakening and get ready to see that activated over and over again. We'll go for Stunning. We'll activate Evil Thorn's effect to get 2 Evil Thorns from our deck. Our opponent will gain life points, and we'll special a Prim from our hand. Afterwards, we're going to link summon a copy of Jasmine, gaining our opponent more life points, before tagging into a Lone Fire Blossom and activating its effect. We will forego all 3, at the very least it gains them less, to activate Orpheus Scorpio, to get a copy of Darlingtonia Cobra, and of course an Instant Fusion as well. We'll link summon a copy of Cloth Heap, then activate Instant Fusion to get a copy of Thousand Eyes Restrict. Unfortunately, we can't target our opponent's monster, but we can target that Almirage and force the activation early. Now we just have to deal with how we're going to beat this big ol' bungus. We still should be able to. We'll go into a Glow Up Bulb, then tribute it for a Peony. We'll activate Peony's effect to get, the Edict before going into a Linkaribo. We'll activate Spore's effect, and then these should line up for a Boral Sword Dragon and a copy of Borreload Savage. The Boral Sword will get over our opponent's copy of Raviel, and we'll be able to negate the effect of Dark Beckoning Beast next turn with Savage. Cerulean Skyfire triggers, they don't take damage, but I'm happy with that. We weren't going to do 193,000 anyway. We're going to activate Savage Dragon, and they'll concede. So as you can see, this deck has access to Appaloosa going first and can bring out Boral Sword going second. It is now time for Game 3, and you know what that means, a best of 3 versus meta. Unfortunately for us, our hand is just a little bit clunky. We have 2 monsters we want to use our normal summon on, Orpheus Scorpio and Evil Thorn. Let's see if we can build a board against an extremely robust strategy. We're going to lead with a copy of Orpheus Scorpio to get a copy of Darlingtonia Cobra from deck, followed by an Instant Fusion. We're going to link summon a copy of Cloth Heap and Instant Fusion for a Mud Dragon, which triggers Cloth Heap and brings back Evil Thorn. Unfortunately, we can't use the 2 thorns we get from deck to go into Jasmine because the arrows don't line up. Instead, we'll tribute it for Peony after making Appaloosa and Pot of Desires. Those are pretty good finds. We're going to Stunning for both halves of our 8. We'll 1-for-1 for a copy of Glow Up Bulb, then link summon a Needle Fiber. While we can't really do anything with the Needle Fiber, we can get Tribute Fodder on our side of the field for a Teardrop and set up the grave for next turn. I'm feeling pretty confident. Our opponent's going to lead with a copy of Debug. I will go ahead and negate that with Appaloosa. Next, they're going to link summon a copy of Balings to get a copy of Sanctuary from deck. They'll activate Pot of Desires and Will of the Salamangreat. They'll special a Foxy and then activate Spinny. I guess I'll negate Spinny's graveyard effect as well. They'll go to the battle phase and walk over our copy of Appaloosa, then attacking into Teardrop. No! Prohibit Snake! Oh god, well, with no access to Teardrop, we are really in for it. They're going to reincarnation summon a Sunlight Wolf and then set a copy of Roar. We might have actually just lost this game off of the back of that Prohibit Snake. We'll go for a Glow Up Bulb, and they have an Ash for it. Are you kidding me? Well, we'll go for Spore, we'll activate Pot of Desires, they'll Roar it, and yeah, we can activate the Grave Effect of Helleboros, but that is the end of the game. So, it's time for Game 2, and okay, there's basically no way to play around this card. Maybe we can play through it. We're going to lead with a copy of Lone Fire Blossom, getting an Orpheus from deck. We're going to activate Scorpio's effect to get a copy of Darlingtonia Cobra, and its effect to get a copy of Instant Fusion. We'll upstart here before link summoning a copy of Cloth Heap, Instant Fusioning for a Mud Dragon, activating Cloth Heap to bring back Evil Thorn, and the rock descends. Okay, well, pending the result of this Desires, we could do it. We'll reborn into a copy of Lone Fire Blossom, then activate its effect for a Peony. We'll activate Peony for a copy of Stunning. We'll activate Stunning to get the other 8. Afterwards, we're going to activate Snowdrop to special it and Helleboros, overlaying for a Teardrop and removing the Nibiru. We can still do this. Now, against Lady Debug hands specifically, I think my win condition is to keep them off of their normal summoned monster so they can never trigger the Gazelle that's in their hand. It works out this turn. We'll normal summon a copy of Orpheus Scorpio and move everything to attack position. We aren't able to OTK, dang you upstart goblin, but we are able to get close. We'll pass it back to our opponent, who for turn draws a Jack Jaguar. We'll activate Snowflower Sheet, they'll Cosmic Cyclone, we'll chain Called by the Grave, and if we're allowed to take this Jack Jaguar, we might just have it. We are. They pass back to us. For turn we draw an Instant Fusion, and we'll go to battle phase and clean this game up. So it's time for that all-important Game 3, and oh god, they have everything. Gazelle, Circle, Lady Debug. Yeah, I'd be surprised if we make it out of this one. They're going to lead with a copy of Lady Debug for a copy of Prohibit Snake, and when they add Prohibit off of Debug, you know something's gone extremely wrong. They're going to activate Will of the Salamangreat to special to Jack Jaguar, and then link summon a Sunlight Wolf, triggering the effect of Gazelle, and then activating Gazelle's effect to send a Rage. They'll link summon a copy of Balinks to put this Gazelle back, and then go into a reincarnation summon to Sunlight Wolf, bringing back the Jack Jaguar, triggering Sunlight Wolf, setting a copy of Rage, and passing back to us. Quite bad. Okay, we're going to normal summon a copy of Evil Thorn. They're going to Ash, but thankfully we do have the Called by the Grave for this at the very least. We will have a game on our hands. We're going to get 2 Evil Thorns from deck, and whoa, if this was not the end of the game. We'll go ahead and activate this copy of Upstart Goblin before activating Instant Fusion for 1000 Eyes Restrict, at which point our opponent will flip Rage. Well, given our hand, that is just about it. They're going to trigger Gazelle and then activate the effect of Gazelle. We'll reborn this copy of Aromaseraphy Jasmine, attack, and walk directly into the Prohibit Snake we knew was there. Okay, that's shameful enough that I'll concede. So we're back with the deck, and yeah, this might have indirectly proven the viability of Plant Link, not Snowflower. Let's do the pros and cons. First, the pros. 1. Alright, let's get this part out of the way. The Needle Fiber Lone Fire core is a game changer for any plant-adjacent strategy. The ability to flex into an Appaloosa for nearly no opportunity cost is unparalleled, and the multiple starting boards for the engine mean that it can effectively navigate already established setups. 2. The Snowflower bosses interact with cards in a way that none of existing power plants do. Tributing opponents' monsters is unfathomably strong, especially in formats where people are already considering main decking Kaiju. And 3. It is an absolute blast to play. I mean, usually board-building decks demand the same linear combo every game, so it's nice to play one that's malleable based on your opener and the matchup. And the cons. 1. The Snowflower monsters are bricky. They often clog your hand, and since the majority of them lock you into plants, you've got to wait until the bitter end of your combo lines to commit. 2. The Snowflower spells are terrible. Their Tribal Rhoda is powerful, but the remainder of their searchable spells and traps are mediocre at best and miserable at worst. And 3. You are pretty clearly playing a worse version of Plant Link by committing to this specific deck. Very often I would think, wow, what if I just had some additional extenders? Only to realize what was holding me back was the second and third copy of Peony. All in all, Plant Link is good, but Snowflower does little for this core of carnations other than hold it back. So that's that. Thanks to my patrons, Protagify, Tyler Slacks, Miko Reichman, Crispy, Sir Tachyon, Dan the Man Hoban, Bleb, Blake Root, Standards Objective, Jeff Leonard, Emperor Stove, TJ Steakhouse, Pro Yugi Dad, Picnic Blasted, Burrito Man 93, Fighting Fang Wong, Donnie Fillerup, Meatmoto 27, Adam Sundquist, Isaac Jackson, Second Lucas Geardas, Adam Trevino, Adrian Bra, and others. If you like my videos, please consider subscribing. And if you want to be part of the process, consider following me on Twitch as well. See you next time.